In the fast-moving world of the NBA, where rumors fly faster than a Russell Westbrook fast break, it takes something truly earth-shattering to make the entire league freeze in place. Sure, we've had shocking moments before. A 100-point game, a LeBron mid-season retirement bombshell, or a 16 seed winning the NBA title. But once in a generation, something happens that makes every player, every analyst, every fan stop mid-sentence, mid-shot, or even mid-tweet. Their brains struggling to process what they just heard. And this was one of those moments. This story is about to get as wild as a 40-foot Luka Doncic step-back buzzer beater. Let's just jump into it. There are a few things in the NBA that make the world stop spinning. A 100-point game, LeBron James announcing his retirement mid-season, stuff that makes your phone blow up with notifications, group chats implode, and Twitter, X, just about combust. But on a seemingly ordinary Saturday night, something equally earth-shattering happened. The Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis. We're talking about Luka, I'll put up a triple-double before breakfast, Doncic. The man who's been the heart, soul, and beard of the Mavericks since he swaggered onto the scene 7 years ago. He's not just any superstar, he's that superstar. The guy who, in his short career, has already been responsible for a third of the franchise's finals appearances. Some players are great, some are legendary. And then, every once in a while, someone comes along who seems like they were born to play basketball. This Slovenian doesn't just play basketball, he controls it. Most young stars thrive on speed and explosiveness. Luka thrives on slowing the game down to his rhythm, a skill usually reserved for veterans deep in their careers. And the best part? He does all of this with a level of confidence and swagger that makes him must-watch TV. Mark Cuban once joked that he'd rather leave his wife than trade Luka. We laughed then, because who trades Luka? Nobody. That's who. Or at least that's what we thought. Let's rewind. The Mavs lucked into drafting Luka in 2018. They were like a gambler who hits the jackpot on a slot machine they almost walked past. Every team that picked ahead of them will be explaining that draft decision to their fans forever. Luka came in and turned a middling Mavericks team into a powerhouse, dragging them to the finals last season like a tired parent pulling a toddler through a toy store. And now, they just gave him away. Here's where it gets truly bizarre. This trade didn't leak. There were no whispers, no Woj bombs, no sham scoops. It materialized out of thin air like your Uber Eats driver when you're not wearing pants. The Mavs talked only to the Lakers and just accepted the deal. No bidding war, no exploring the market, just a quiet, clandestine handshake that shook the league. Now, why was Luka traded in this manner? Some say it has to do something with his tremendous weight gain or his sudden knack for drinking beer after games. Luka's weight had ballooned past 260 pounds, which was affecting his play style. Then there's the time when Mavs head coach Jason Kidd allegedly caught Luka casually drinking beer after a game like it was a backyard barbecue. Seeing their franchise player casually drinking before a game while already battling weight issues was the final straw. Imagine if they'd shopped Luka around. The haul could have been legendary, like King Solomon's treasure, but with more first-round picks and less gold. Instead, they got Anthony Davis. A great player, sure, but one who's older and has the injury history of a soap opera character. Why? Some believe the Mavs front office simply panicked and wanted to move on quickly. And before we dive into the main issue, it's important to know a bit about Anthony as well. He's a player who can drop 40 points one night, anchor a top-tier defense the next, and block 5 shots in a game just because he feels like it. And yet, despite his dominance, AD remains one of the league's most enigmatic superstars. His availability has always been a concern, and it's the only thing preventing him from being a consistent MVP candidate. So what does AD do now? How does he step into the void left by one of the greatest offensive players in the NBA? Simple. He has to do everything, not just defense, but also being the best offensive the team has ever seen. The only thing stopping him from being an all-time great? His own body. So you see why there's a legitimate concern regarding this trade. Why trade Luka now? That's the billion-dollar question. The man's a top 3 player in the league, just 25 years old, and he practically willed them to the finals. The reasons cited were his conditioning and his upcoming $345 million contract extension. Yes, that's a lot of money, but it's the cost of keeping a generational talent. The kind of talent you sell the farm for, the kind you build a 10-year plan around, not trade away in the dead of night. Superstar trades usually have some logic. Maybe the player is past their prime, maybe the team isn't winning with them, maybe they demand a trade. But Luka was just entering his prime. The Mavs were contenders, and he never asked out. There's no precedent for this. It's as random as Mark Cuban suddenly deciding to run for president. Ask the Portland Trail Blazers how often a true franchise player comes along. They've had 3 in 55 years. The Mavericks had 2, Dirk Nowitzki and Luka. Dirk stayed for 21 years, a one-team legend, bringing the city a championship. Luka, on the other hand, was just getting started. And now, he's gone. Dallas is in LA. They can't just assume another generational talent will fall into their lap. For the first time in his storied career, LeBron James won't be the best player on his team. Let that sink in. Luka and LeBron have similar play styles. Ball-dominant, high IQ facilitators. It could create redundancy, sure, but the Lakers are playing the long game. The LeBron-AD duo had hit its ceiling, and when Luka magically appeared on the trade block, they pounced. This isn't just about now. It's about post-LeBron Lakers, Luka leading the next chapter of Showtime. It was time for a new era to begin. Years from now, we'll look back and remember the night the Mavericks flipped Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis and scratch our heads. Luka might win MVPs in LA, he might bring banners back to Staples, and the Mavericks might still be competitive with AD for a while. But in 20 years, when people talk about this trade, they'll do it with the same bewilderment as when they discuss the Celtics trading prime Bill Russell or the Hornets letting Kobe slip away on draft night. The Mavericks will be the punchline of what not to do with a generational talent seminars. The Lakers, meanwhile, will somehow, some way, have pulled off another franchise-altering heist because that's what they do. And we'll all be left wondering, how did they get away with it again? What are your thoughts on this ridiculous trade? Let us know in the comments below. In other news, while the league continues to gloss over his stellar performances, Harrow is putting together his best season yet. They're basically just sleeping on him. Click on this video to find out what's going on.